Hi guys, my name's Natalia and welcome to my channel. Recently I've read The Secret History and I honestly can't get this book out of my head. I keep thinking about the characters, the atmosphere, the psychological mess of it all. It's so unhinged, but like in a good way. So if you've somehow never heard of this book, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, it's basically considered the mother of all dark academia books, and today I want to talk about it and talk about why I loved it. So there will be no spoilers, so you can watch it even if you haven't read it. Okay, but before we dive into the book, I briefly want to talk about the dark academia subgenre and what it is, because this book is like the blueprint for this subgenre. So it is a subgenre both in literature and in aesthetic, and it romanticizes academia, knowledge, and intellectualism, but like in a dark, moody way. So think ivy-covered buildings, ancient libraries, candlelight, handwritten notes, tragic poetry, obsession with beauty and death, but also elitism and academic pressure that often turns into something way more twisted. These stories usually follow students or scholars who are obsessed with knowledge, beauty, truth, to the point that they start to lose touch with reality. It often also includes either secret societies or a mysterious death. And this aesthetic and this subgenre, it's not just about being smart, it's about the aesthetic of being like tortured by knowledge, which it's a bit dramatic but also kind of iconic. And the book that we're talking about today, The Secret History, basically kicked off this entire subgenre. And nowadays a lot of dark academia books are coming out, but this is considered like the first actual dark academia book. So I've read like a few dark academia books, but this one is definitely my favorite one. I gave it 5 stars, but honestly it's more of a like 6-star read maybe. And today I just briefly want to talk about why I loved it so much. And I feel like this book is really so good, but then I also understand that not everyone might like it. So I'll tell you why I liked it, and if you feel like this book is for you, then you should go ahead and read it. So let's get started. So let's start with the premise of the book, just so you know the context. In this book, we follow a guy named Richard who transferred to this small elite college in Vermont. And there's this very tight-knit, very like mysterious group of students that study ancient Greek. So there's only a few of them, and like the professor is very picky about how many students he teaches. Like this group is just very eccentric, they don't really talk that much with other people in the university. They just stick together, just a few of them, and this professor has like a very specific way of teaching. And so Richard is like kind of interested in this group, like he's kind of fascinated by them. He goes and talks to the professor. So at first the professor wasn't really sure, but after a while he agreed to take Richard. So Richard joins the group of ancient Greek students and begins his studies. So right on the first page, this is not a spoiler because you learn that from the very beginning, we find out that Bonnie is going to die by the end of the book. So we learn that like off the bat, and the rest of the book is just talking about events that lead up to his death and also the aftermath and everything that's happening after his death. Now let's talk about all the reasons why I love this book and why I gave it 5 stars. Reason number 1, I was totally immersed in this book. So one thing to note is that the chapters are really long. At first, I wasn't a fan of that because I personally don't like when the chapters are too long. But honestly, after a while, I was so invested and I was so engaged in the story that I even stopped noticing the fact that the chapters are so long. Although, if you are someone that reads, like, you need to finish the chapter before you stop reading, this might be a problem. Like, I don't really care. Like, I can stop in the middle of the chapter, so it's fine for me. Like I said, even though the chapters were long, after a while I was so invested I stopped noticing this particular detail. I feel like this is the kind of book that doesn't just pull you in, it literally swallows you whole. There's like slow building tension and intensity throughout the book. And honestly, even when I wasn't reading, I was thinking about this book constantly. Even now that I finished it, I still think about it a lot. But when I was reading it, I was thinking about it constantly. I just couldn't get it out of my head. That's how I know when a book has me, when I cannot stop living in its world even after I put the book down. So this was one of those books for me. And the reason, number two, why I love this book so much was the tension was so well done. Like I told you, even though we find out from the beginning that Bonnie will end up dying, the tension leading up to his death is insane. It's not necessarily about what happens because we kind of know what happens, but it's about why it happens, how it happens, and also what happens after, so the aftermath. There's this psychological tension and quiet dread that just grows with every chapter. So I kept turning pages with this like knot of tension in my stomach, like something is about to snap. And when it finally does, I would say the emotional fallout of everything is just as gripping as the build up. So, even after Bonnie's death, I would say the story does not slow down. It's still very intense. Okay, reason number three, this is a very important reason, and it's the characters. And what can I say about the characters? They are a mess, honestly. Like, they're so deeply flawed, morally questionable, and they end up making some horrible choices that I do not agree with. But somehow they were so fascinating to read about, and I even found myself rooting for them at times, even though I knew they're horrible people. But there was something so fascinating about them, and they were so like believable, like, and realistic. It felt like they're real people. Like, I could believe that people like this exist in the real world. Honestly, Donna Tartt is a genius for making these characters. And also, I've seen some reviews saying like they thought the characters are like kind of similar, which I could not disagree with more. Maybe at first when you get to know the story, you kind of like still trying to figure out who is who, but I feel like after a while they are very distinctive characters with very distinctive characteristics. But like I said, I was really invested in their story, and they were just so fascinating to read about. Not necessarily likable, but fascinating for sure. Okay, reason number 4 why I love this book is the writing. It's very like rich and lyrical, and I honestly highlighted so many of the quotes. I just think Donna Tartt's writing is so good and it's so atmospheric. Just the way she describes things, I don't know, I could just picture them so vividly inside of my head. Her writing is honestly beautiful, so lyrical. And I also like, this is just like a fun fact, but the characters sometimes use like different languages in dialogue. So they use like French or Greek or Latin, and I found that really cool, and I really like that aspect. It's it's a very small aspect, but I am someone that studies linguistics and I really love languages in general, so it's just a very fun aspect that I really enjoyed. Okay, reason number 5, the dark academia setting. So I don't know why, but I really like books that are set in like the academic world. I don't know why, it's just so interesting to me, and especially the dark academia subgenre. I already told you at the beginning of this video kind of what this subgenre entails. So yeah, this book has all of that. We've got, an elite college, an eccentric group of students studying ancient Greek, endless fall vibes, and just enough isolation to make everything seem a little bit off. The setting creates this weird sense of detachment from reality, which makes the story feel dreamlike but also really unsettling at the same time. And somehow everything feels really heightened in this environment, like emotions, stakes, even the smallest interaction. It feels like their whole world exists inside of this bubble, and the pressure inside that bubble keeps rising until it bursts. The next reason why I love this book is I just feel like the themes that are discussed in this book just really stick with you, or at least they stuck with me. I guess we could say that Donna Tartt tries to explore many different themes in this book, such as guilt, obsession, morality, etc., etc. But it's not really explored in a way that feels like preachy. It's not trying to give you any clear answer. It's more like it just lets you sit with the discomfort and the consequences. And I feel like that was really powerful. Seeing these characters go through the aftermath of what they've done, it was just such a haunting experience that I don't think I will ever be able to forget. It was the kind of book that didn't just entertain me, but it also messed with my head a little bit. This was the last reason on my list. Honestly, I could probably make up more reasons, but I don't want to make this video too long, and I feel like I would just keep repeating myself. So what you should take from this video is that this book is amazing, and I will admit I was a little bit scared to read it just because like it's so hyped up, and I was not sure if it will live up to its hype. But for me personally, it did. I feel like it even exceeded my expectations, okay? And also mind you, this book came out in 1992, but it's still so popular and so many people still read it and talk about it to this day, which I think just proves how powerful this book is and how much of an impact it has had on readers all over the world. So, if you are looking for a book that's like filled with very slow building tension, basically a book that will mess you up and a book you will not be able to stop thinking about, and if you like the dark academia subgenre, I think I can highly recommend this one. I feel like it's not for everyone because like I said, the chapters are long, and not only that, but I feel like it is a little bit slow, like especially it might feel like it's a little bit slow. I feel like because of the tension, I didn't really feel it that much. Like I didn't really feel bored because there was this crazy tension building up at all times. But yeah, after reading other people's reviews, there were some people that said it was boring, which I understand. So that's why I feel like this book is not necessarily for everyone. It was definitely for me because I loved every second of it, and it's one of the best books I've read so far this year. Okay, I had this book on my shelf behind me and I don't know why I didn't show it, so I'm showing you now. So honestly, I 100% recommend it. It's such a good book and it just honestly messed me up, but in the best way possible. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!